of the Daly City Public Library Associates and Program Director of the Daly City Youth Poet Laureate Program. In case you're not familiar with us, DCPLA is sort of a Friends of the Library type nonprofit, providing funding and outreach for our Daly City Public Libraries. We're extremely proud to host the Daly City Youth Poet Laureate Program in partnership with the Daly City Public Library and Urban Word, creator of the National Youth Poet Laureate Program. A quick note, out of respect to our poets, please do not take photos or video during the program. Video will be available for viewing on Daly City's YouTube channel, and we have a photographer. I will send all of the finalists a link to a folder with lots of great photos. So just sit back, be in the moment, and enjoy getting to know these amazingly accomplished and talented youths. Thank you. I'd like to take a moment to acknowledge some special guests. Please hold your applause until the end. We've got Bernie Vidalis, the Superintendent of the Jefferson Elementary School District, Tony Presta, Superintendent of the Jefferson Union High School District, Robin Rodericks, Executive Director of the San Mateo County Arts and Culture Commission, Andrew Lee, Vice President of the Jefferson Union High School District Board of Trustees, Pamela Di Giovanni, sorry Pam, from the Daly City City Council, Teresa Fa'apua from the Daly City Library Board of Trustees, Chayla Anderson, Director of Library Services for Daly City, Clayton Koo, President of the Jefferson Elementary School District, Stephen Stolte, Assistant City Manager of Daly City, Jocelyn Manalo, City Council of Daly City, and Shauna Maltby, City Manager of Daly City. Did I forget anyone who's here? Or oh, sorry, Joy is back there. Sorry, I'm having a brain fart. Joy of the Bay Shore Elementary School District. Anyone else? Okay. Oh, the mayor. Yes, I'm sorry. I was going to introduce him later, but yes. Last but not least, the mayor of Daly City, Dr. Rod Doss Michael. Actually here and you didn't show, so my apologies. But he is part of our program tonight, so he is definitely here. Thank goodness. All right, thank you. So I'd also like to thank the judges of the 2022-23 Daly City Youth Poet Laureate Program. Again, please hold your applause until the end. Lauren Doss from the Daly City Library Board of Trustees, Dr. Rod Doss Makwal, Daly City Mayor, Monica DeVincenzi from the DCPLA Board of Directors, Madeleine Herr, 2021-22 Daly City Youth Poet Laureate, Nancy Rodriguez from the Daly City Arts and Culture Commission, James Siegel, a San Francisco poet and activist, and Sarah Spence, Daly City Librarian. Please give it up for our fabulous judges. We invited each of these judges to participate because of their unique perspective and qualifications. Applicants' names, schools, and other identifying information was eliminated from their applications in an effort to keep the judging impartial. Judges used a rubric created by Urban Word with which applicants were scored equally on their civic engagement and their poetry submissions. When people ask me about the Daly City Youth Poet Laureate, I always mention that it's a position, not a prize. Our Poet Laureate is chosen based on their qualifications to act as a representative of the Daly City Public Library Associates and Daly City Youth at events around the city and the county. When we launched our program in October of 2020, it was not only the first Daly City Youth Poet Laureate program, but the first in all of San Mateo County. Our 2021-22 Daly City Youth Poet Laureate, Madeleine Herr, has been the exemplification of the qualities that we sought in our Poet Laureate. Participating in numerous poetry events, writing and performing original poems for city events such as Make a Difference Day and the city government reorganization, organizing youth volunteers for the DCPLA used book sale, working with San Mateo County Poet Laureate Eileen Casanetto to host an online poetry workshop for our Daly City Youth Poet Laureate applicants, and putting together an online Get Out the Vote event with the San Mateo County Department of Registration and Elections called Spoken Voice for Choice. She was awarded the honor of Daly City Youth of the Year by 2021 Mayor Jessalyn Manalo, and a plaque with her name and one of her poems hangs in Colma's Town Hall. She set the bar incredibly high, but we believe that this year's Daly City Youth Poet Laureate will be equally amazing, and we're so happy to be able to provide this opportunity for our youth. Please welcome the 2021-22 Daly City Youth Poet Laureate, Madeleine Herr.
Had time to practice my public speaking during COVID. But firstly, I want to give a huge thank you to the Daly City Public Library Associates for organizing this program in Daly City and providing this opportunity to all the youth poets in this county. I also specifically want to thank Victoria, who was extremely supportive throughout my term. She was both a supporter and a friend that I hope to stay connected with beyond high school. And I don't think I can properly describe, despite, I guess, being a poet, the kind of impact this program has had on me. It was extremely eye-opening, and it has just fueled me to continue writing and continue advocating for human rights. And I can't thank you enough for this year. So the final poem for this term that I will be sharing with you today is inspired by my Korean grandmother, who introduced me to poetry. It is about what poetry has become for me at this moment in my life, what poetry throughout the span of my term has shown me. Show me and help me to realize about myself, my culture, and the women in my family, and how despite the language barrier between my grandmother and I, we have a strong relationship through creative writing, and that's the power of poetry. This is called the witchiness of my dendrochronological inheritance. Dendrochronology is the study of tree time. My grandmother hates witches. She hates their ancient brooms, their terribly paired monochrome outfits, their supernatural ways. She hates the way they can put you under hypnosis with a concoction from a family recipe, their beautiful mysteriousness. But amidst the Texan winter, she uncloaked her poetry, cradling them as if a fragile puzzle. She gestured for me to look. And out slipped the one word she ever chose to learn, and I felt it slam like tossed paperweight and rusting chains. I felt too light. Her words slammed like paperweights and chains, and I saw the rest of it stream from her papers. It was a storage for the wreckage of cherry blossoms, and her memory of running she keeps like food in her endless hibernation, and in her burrow she talks, and I hear the echo. The word was filmed over with something so unfamiliar, resided between Korean characters which should be mine too, but to which I am a stranger. It is the infesting core of my grandmother and hers, lasting generations, and skipping to a halt at the outlier, feeble point of mine. From the depths, she murmured the word, pain, and I couldn't understand, but it was to me at that time a necessity. The word rolled off her tongue following the scorched tracks it left from the million other times she said it, and as it did, I watched those letters drop like a warped window pane, maddened like a mid-flight magpie about whether I was flying or perched, where some part of her, some part of me abandoned me, left behind in my marrow that infuriating dissatisfaction of an interrupted dream that leaves me hanging and minuscule. In her English veil that she constructed just for me to understand, I watched a rosy-cheeked answer peer through train windows and never exit the cart. Like a sad story of Hachiko and I am the dog. I'll tell you that in this loose skin that I dragged, I scoured through pages of history to fill the rest of this vastness, that I dug mazes through myself until I punctured skin to find the same burrow my grandmother hides in. I'll tell you that those pages were revolutionary to me, but real to my mother, and that I am my mother's mime, mirroring her horrified, remembering expressions as she read about comfort women. And I'll tell you that those same pages started tasting grimy in my mouth, and but I searched to find a taste, just to find it had been my act, me, my mother's mime. I'll tell you that at the Korean War Memorial, I broke not because I felt their pain, but because I couldn't. That I spent hours searching for a face in that reflective wall to bring back some memory of their voices I swore I had. and that my insides felt something like fireworks and a mended bone when a stranger bowed to me at that same memorial. But these crafts of ours are xylem rings, parietal paintings tending to the flame in our flickering campfire. These crafts of ours are what builds a bridge from wreckage and shines a brilliant route out of morn. My grandmother is a witch-hating, magic-hating woman, a sinking, drowning woman. But when I tell you that four-letter word, when regurgitated onto printer paper and healed by her hand like an elegant loom, boosts her to fly and connects me to ground, you can understand that it's bewitching. Only when I became a writer's mime did I see behind the heavy veil, and only when I became a writer did I hear words and sound without words and sound. Our letters are her sky and my ground, the incantations that create the circular moon-like view that we bask beneath, thrive beneath. Our letters dissipate my envious fog that was my search to find my lineage, the rope and bind that helps me fly and her finally stand. There was nothing that made more sense than those words, the scramble of words carefully woven together. The tapestry of unfamiliar characters that didn't make sense, and the whole product that did. This piece we wove together lies like a bridge, and I can finally walk across to meet her for the very first time. Meet me for the very first time. And I thank her, and I thank it, her lyrics, her enchantment, her poem, and all that flooded down to me. Thank you. She is the Academy of American Poet Laureates Fellow and the current Poet Laureate for our San Mateo County. She serves as a commissioner for the County Commission on the Status of Women and as a member of the Daly City Public Library Associates Board of Directors. So please welcome Eileen Castaneda.
Thank you, Maddie. That was so powerful and so gorgeous. Thank you so much. Good evening, Mayor Rod Daus-Magbual, honorable council members, elected officials, city and county staff, fellow BCPLA directors, poets, and friends. It's my honor and great pleasure to introduce this year's Daly City Youth Poet Laureate finalists who will be presenting their poems. Our first reader is Julie Malari, who is 13 years old and an 8th grader at Fernando Rivera Intermediate School in Daly City. Julene will be followed by Chloe Chow, who is 14 years old and a freshman at Westmore High School, also in Daly City. After Chloe, Jesset Marcelino will be reading her poem. Jesset is 16 years old and a junior at Jefferson High School. The final reader for this set is Angelico Varela, age 13, and an 8th grader at Fernando Rivera Intermediate School. I would now like to call on our first reader, Julie Malari. Welcome, Julie.
Hello, everyone. I hope you're all doing well tonight. So my teachers and parents inspired me to become a poet and encouraged me to pour out all my thoughts and emotions through words and rhyme. I want to be the next Daly City Poet Laureate because I want to serve and represent the community I love. I believe this would give me the platform to promote kindness, poetry, and change in our community. The poem that I will be sharing with you all today is called Will I Be Enough? From the moment you are born, no one is warned of the expectations society has. A child learns of the dangers that ensue simply because of the pressures that brew. So the tough question is planted in this young mind. Will I be enough? As you grow, you learn to know that although you are beautifully unique, that isn't always what they seek. In the hierarchy of the world, there are those who are smart, those who are pretty, those who are rich, and those who are nobody. Some get lost in the labels, paying the cost and losing their true identity, forgetting it doesn't come from external entities, rather one's own perception of themselves. So when posed with the question, will I be enough? Remember, that's a question that doesn't need to be asked. You're beautifully made and don't need to be changed. You will always be more than enough. Thank you. And next, I would like to introduce Chloe Chow. Hi everyone. Is this working?
Yes.
Okay. So hi, my name is Chloe Chow. I'm a freshman from Westmore High School, and I wouldn't say anybody really inspired me to be a poet. It was rather the idea that poetry can change our communities and it can mean a lot to a person. So I want to be the Daly City Youth Poet Laureate because I see it as an opportunity to enact positive change in our community and to make a difference. So today I will be reading you two poems, and the first one is called Searching for All the Lost Things. The buccaneers, feeling only sand against toes, the roughness of it underneath nails and eyes. Light a candle, feel the way lungs expand to the glow of flames, melting wax like smooth honey. Watch the way the sun sets in the evening, kissing the edge of the horizon. While you're at it, look for an escape. Search the attic, slice through the packing tape of old cardboard boxes, because you might find it there. But instead, you find yourself in the fleeting years. Shining eyes, the soft flesh underneath them dark with insomnia. Songs half sung on lips, the curve of ribs above heart. That's your birthright, so keep it safe. Tuck it in the pocket of your pretty blue jeans, or in the locket of your flight. But be careful. Your head doesn't quite fit that bicycle helmet. If you fall, you'll skin your knee and slam against the whitewashed fences, against green grass. Then the buccaneers, feeling only. Now I'll be reading my second poem, A Portrait of Madeleine. Sometimes I can almost feel Danica, even if it's nothing but ground bark paste against skin. I can almost feel warm rainfall, the flesh of a tangerine dipping under fingers, bare feet kicking at soft, green soil, and crawling roots in the quagmire. I can almost feel fresh ginseng in my throat, like I'm spitting out the syllables of it. Words made of spilled ink fly off the page like cicadas, heavy pockets burning with mothlight. There's mohinga heavy on my tongue, incense that comes with a prayer, and it whittles itself into something bronze and beautiful. Something like unpaved roads, the creased pages of worn piano sheets. It's in the folds of Laureate, sweeping against ankles and dirt. I can almost feel the movements of it, dancing impatient, like the quiet determination of the Burmese python dashing into the glowing sky. The clash of wind chimes and the smell of a moonlight symphony through the generations. Myanmar, I can almost feel you. Thank you. Now I would like to introduce our next finalist, Marcelino.
Hello. Hi. Good evening, everyone. My name is Marcelino. I became a poet because I loved expressing my ideas. Through words, I find it important for me to remember things I've felt and appreciate what life is about. When it comes to achieving things, I'm proud of everything I've accomplished, and I'm grateful that I've had the opportunity to be here. The reason I want to be the Daly City Youth Poet Laureate is because I believe that through communication, reading, writing, I can be a good example for Daly City, a city I've grown to feel at home within a span of 2 years. And the poem I'll be reciting is entitled Text. Text. of radio waves, distances apart. Tita Lisa has passed now, ate. June 10, 2020, 1:59 a.m. Scene. Text, a message received. There I was, awake in the middle of the night, June 10th of 2020, where 3.7 million people died. It's just when death that hit the most, like a chord or a note that struck me the most. COVID-19 caused millions of deaths. Oh, how the sick felt like they were drowning, fatigue and of difficulty breathing. But then, here I was, just sitting, laying on the bed. I stopped breathing. All my thoughts just stopped talking, screaming, crying. Just a text message, a bunch of words mixed together. Is this all real? Was all I pondered. Drowning and drowning, I'm holding my breath. Breathe in, my body begs. Sadness filling in my lungs and heart. But if I breathe in, my body would just fall apart. 6,963 miles away from me, alone and lonely, drowning in the sea of emotions. Ear deafening, heavy feeling, breath holding, it's suffocating. My aunt has left this world like a knife that stabbed me in the chest. 9 months have passed without new memories of her. The fear of losing someone dear, to lose everyone that was close to me. Oh, how I felt like I was drowning, and time moves so fast, yet my heart keeps so slow. My aunt in my mind, her words in my heart. Memories and whispers, she's somewhere afar. And just like the breeze, her soul will be free. Her love and care, I hope, will guide me. And all my regrets and pains, while distances apart, will disintegrate to pieces with her knowing a message sent saying, I love you, seen. Thank you. Next, I would like to welcome Angelico Varela.
Hello everyone, thank you for coming for this lovely evening. I was inspired to be a poem or a poet through my teachers, and how expressing your thoughts and feelings through poetry is like expressing a story and telling it to everyone. I want to become the next Daly City Poem Laureate because I want to show how much I love my community. Tonight, my performance can inspire others and maybe the next generation to do the same. It is my duty not only as a student, but as a citizen of Daly City to serve my community through kindness, love, and joy. This poem I would now present to you is called He is the One. As days pass by, I began to know him more. Every day feels like I'm dancing on the dance floor. Full of joy, happiness, and laughter, he would always look into my eyes after. He gives me joy every day. It almost feels like a fairy tale. He reminds me of the season winter, full of joy and happiness. My heart is telling me he is the one and only.
Next, we're going to have
2022 Daly City Youth Poet Laureate Commencement. I am Trisha Devera, President of the Daly City Public Library Associates. DCPLA develops community, civic, and business support for fundraising, advocacy, and innovative programs that benefit our diverse community and promotes greater awareness of the library's valuable resources. Our support complements but does not supplant the city's responsibility for funding the Daly City Library's operations. DCPLA was established in 2011 and since then has provided over $300,000 for purchasing new books and technology, refurbishing libraries, maintaining facilities, and so much more. But it is our community that plays a big role in helping our libraries continue to support the young and the old and everyone in between. Without you, our libraries would not be successful in providing the resources that people need to thrive and be successful in their lives. It's safe to say that while we were going through the pandemic, not being able to utilize the libraries was definitely a loss. Not just for individuals wanting to read the latest news, but for those who needed to complete job applications on the computers, have students be able to do their research, have our Tiny Tots be able to join story time and socialize. So what I'd like to say is to become a member of the Daly City Public Libraries, you'd like to ask how? We have actually a table in the back that has envelopes for membership. And what you can do is donate based on the amount that you'd like to become a member. Another option you could do is if you'd like to join online, you can go to dcpla.org and click on the Donate Now button, and that will take you to the membership link. That's where you can sign up. If you prefer not to join and you'd still like to help out the libraries, you can also donate at whatever amount you choose. No amount is too small. So at this time, I'd like to thank you for all of your support and big congratulations to the poets. This truly is a special occasion that we should be proud of all of our youths. Thank you.
Thank you, Trisha. For the second half of our program, I'm honored to present the following finalists. Hannah Ducampo Pham, who is 14 years old and a freshman at Westmore High School. After Hannah, Iris Lee will be reading her work. Iris is 17 and a junior at Jefferson High School. Last but not least, we have Isabella De Souza, age 16 and a junior at St. Ignatius in San Francisco. I would now like to call on Hannah Ducampo Pham to share her poems with us. Welcome, Hannah.
Family, friends, teachers, and the Dead Poet Society at my school. Poetry is a way for me to tell my truth and reflect on the past and present and speak out about the future I want to see. I want to be the next Daly City Youth Poet Laureate because I want to represent and serve the extraordinary community that Daly City is to me. I believe through the power of poetry, I can promote inclusion, positive change, and justice in the city. My poem is called My Mother's Language. 1. Today, girls don't tie their toes so tight, their bones break to be combined to 3 inches golden lotus, 4 inches silver lotus, 5 inches or more iron lotus. Thus, mothers teach their daughters the grounded spirit that of embrace the backbreaking burden we have only known by fate, by norm, fold us into their hands. Of the generations of women and girls who did, we still don't know the numbers, why they press this lullaby to our tender forehead so we may rest. 2. They said English is a difficult language. I said nothing, my tongue too frail to bridge the distance between the thick tongue of fog and the reed mat waiting at the steps. Robbing ourselves of the land like the clothes on our backs, my people, we begin to defy nature. My mother says English is a living language. that is meaningless, common ground unstable, child, they say. Once immigrant, always immigrant. I recognize my mother's language. 3. No synonym for girly or manly, unbound forecast. 1848, women's earnings and property no longer at the disposal of her husband. 1920, women win the right to vote. 1948, women can fight for their country. Keyword, legally, correction, some women. Today in public schools, we look at male or female before grade. What does it mean to the memory of the voices they stole? Lifetime stutter, a tongue. No English becomes an anthem. Underneath heavy eyes, survivors by burials of history, I speak. Thank you. The next reader is Iris Lee.
Hello, my name is Iris Lee, and I am a junior at Jefferson High School. My second grade teacher, Ms. Colombe, inspired me to become a poet and pursue creative writing and poetry. I want to be the next Daly City Poet Youth Laureate because I want to use my words to fight for social justice within my community and to express my emotions for the city. My first poem is To My Community. I fear the cobblestones. I fear the cement curbs and sidewalks. No, it is not because I am oversensitive. It's instead the fear I hold for me and those who risk their lives simply for walking on the streets under the coat of yellow skin. I fear to hear another dreadful news of blood ruthlessly spattered on the cold and heartless streets of our country by those who refuse to listen, accept, and love. I refuse to accept oppression. I refuse to witness my ethnicity stand on the verge of open ground, shot and targeted. I will not remain silent. I refuse to remain silent. The voices of our people must be and will be heard by those who refuse to listen and by those who openly embrace. Our demand for justice will not cease till we receive righteousness. We will not be suppressed and we will fight for those victimized and for those vulnerable. We will stand proud and let our stories be told, that we are not a virus, that we are proud representations of the Chinese and not what they claimed us to be. Because we deserve justice, no matter how long it will be. My second poem is California. Fire engulfed us, its flames staring us to touch its yellow and orange striped hands. It mocked at our distance to come closer. It laughed at our attempts to wipe its existence. And worst of all, it allied with the sky. It pitied us for a moment, but it returned to dominating our homes, our uncontrollable tears and our powerless shouts of anger. Maybe the sky had reconsidered. As it fought with its ally, drops of hope fell from above, from tinkles of jingle bells to an entire full-on symphony. Fire was hindered by our hopes. It began to diminish by the hour, but before its painful death, it roared up at the sky, expressing its long-lashed anger. Then it disappeared, leaving behind its faintly evident trace of existence. Thank you. I would like to now call on Isabella.
Hello. My name is Izzy D'Souza, and I am a junior at Standing Nations. I write poetry to better convey emotion and bring authenticity to the words I share. I want to become the next Daly City Youth Poet Laureate because I aspire to inspire, and I hope that you enjoy what I have to say. Here are my poems. Hardly Defined by me. If you ask me, what do I know? If it's mine, what could I show? I'd share with you a thoughtful response of my own spiritual renaissance. Through daily life, I sought your presence, a simple answer since adolescence. Young and impressionable, I should not disrespect. I know not of the reasons yet. Who are you? What are you? If you're supposed to be all that's good, why aren't you doing the things you should? You see me, but but I cannot stare back. You say you know me, but I couldn't tell you that. Do you hear me? Are you there? They say your presence is everywhere. Are you the feeling after a morning shower, or the deep inhale of a blossoming flower? The time a movie made me cry, or the help I got when I felt least in power? The love I feel for my family and friends, wherever happiness never seems to end? I guess you must be all the help, the strength I gained, and the love I felt. But mostly, I think God is positive intentions, an abstract construct with no dimensions. That's why it's hard to say in ways that rhyme to describe something that is hardly defined. My next poem is I Am Art, also by me. My family is a diverse tapestry, where each culture is weft and I the woven product. I am the outcome of progress, and in my blood, I hold history accountable. A result of the Spanish colonization of the Philippines and Mexico, I am both the conqueror and the conquered. I am the product of an exchange. In my eyes, my skin, my features, I tell of the coexistence between the Chinese and Portuguese in Macau. I am the descendant of immigrants, a symptom of their ambition. I live at their destination, and I embody their journey. To them, I am the American dream. I am proof that home meant many places long before I was born. And while a piece of each nation exists within me, I am a new interpretation of an old story. I am art. I am the last speaker, so thank you.
Thank you, Izzy. I am so glad I wasn't one of the judges. It has been so hard picking the winner. Our finalists are such outstanding poets and students with a strong sense of community and social justice. I wish to dedicate this very short poem to all the finalists and to Victoria Magdilang, who is the director of the Daly City Youth Poet Laureate Program, who has worked so hard to have this literary space for our youth, and to Madeleine Herr, who has done such a phenomenal job and has done Daly City and Cemetery County proud. Congratulations, everyone. You are all winners in my eyes. Speak poetry. I was taught to gather only what belonged to me, to never pick wildflowers, but instead commit to memory, the shape and sound of what they shelter. Painted lady, bumblebee. When I say speak poetry, I mean know the language of wild and fragile things. Speak of flight and firelight, how to measure a wingspan, a lifespan, a split second that changes everything. Carry each other, the poet says. This matters more than anything. Thank you so much. I would now like to welcome to the stage Mayor Rod Daus Magbual, who will announce the winner.
Thank you, Eileen. I think I just want to give it up to all the poets again. Can you all hear me? Yes. All right. Can I read a poem?
Yes, we would love that. Thank you.
And Eileen encouraged me. I gave her one of my poems. She published it. And I just want to thank Eileen, DCPLA, Victoria, Trisha, and all the members of DCPLA. I was a former board of trustee for Daly City a while back. And spoken word was something that honestly I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for spoken word. And it gave me the courage to get on stage. It gave me the words to give me the narratives and stories to define who I am. And this poem is called From Poetry to Policy. A poet is a policymaker. Every stanza, rhyme, and critical stance shifts people's hearts and minds. It's the reflection of time through narrative that brings life to words. Speak your truth. Speak from your heart, because your art are whispers from your ancestors. Every stanza, rhyme, and a critical stance that shifts people's hearts and minds. Your words are meditations where prayers are transformed into reality. Speak your truth. Speak from your heart, because your art are whispers from your ancestors. Plant the seeds so you can give and grow beyond soil and become fruits for generations to come. Your words are meditations where prayers are transformed into reality. You are the paradigm shifts that need to happen. Plant the seeds so they can grow beyond soil and become fruits for generations to come. Challenge the closed mind with your stories of struggle, survival, and imagination. You are the paradigm shift that needs to happen. Your poems become policy as we ritualize new ways of being. Challenge the closed mind with your stories of struggle, survival, and imagination. Culture shifts politics. Your poems become policy as we ritualize new ways of being. It's a reflection of time through narrative that brings life to words. Culture shifts politics. A poet is a policymaker. Thank you. Now, particularly for you all right, as poets, as young poets, it takes a lot of courage to come up and be so vulnerable for everybody that the words that you write for yourselves doesn't even become that's even yours anymore. It becomes theirs, right? And you get open for criticism, but it takes courage, it takes strength, and you are here because you are strong. So here I'm going to announce, I haven't even looked at it because I was like, I want to get in trouble. All right, so our finalist is Chloe Chow.
Come on up when he calls your name, please.
Next up is Isabella De Souza. Hannah Do Campo Pham. Iris Lee. Next up is Jason Marcelino. Angelico Varela.
Oh, sorry.
And then, oh my bad, Julie Malari. All right, so our first runner-up, Hannah Do Campo Pham. And our 2022, 23 Daly City Youth Poet Laureate is Chloe Chow. Congratulations. I'll give the mic back to her.
Thank you so much, Mayor Rod. How lucky are we to have a poet as a mayor? I mean, seriously. Like, the timing of this is amazing. You know, one of the things about this program is I always wanted to show that we have talent, we have art in Daly City. We just haven't had as many opportunities to really show it off before. So, I mean, thank you so much, Dr. Das Magboal. Thank you so much for being here, for being a judge, for being part of this program. Thank you so much to Trisha Devera and Eileen Casanetto and Madeleine Herr for also emceeing this. And actually, sorry, can I borrow your purse for a second? I neglected earlier, there's a few people who are here that I didn't recognize with their masks too. So I know that Lauren Doss is in the back there and I didn't see her earlier. And I couldn't think of Joy's last name, Gutierrez Pilar. So sorry for that. And I wanted to just read out really quickly the name of our board members. They have these name tags, but we wouldn't be able to do do this without the board. I came to them with this idea that was given to me by Ms. Castanetto, of course, and the board just embraced it and ran with it, and I'm so grateful to all of them for just empowering us to do wonderful things in Daly City. So let me read out their names really quick, and then let's give them a huge round of applause. So we have Trisha Devera as our president, Brian Dotsey is our vice president, who I also neglected to mention earlier is the city manager of Colma. Caitlin Corley is our secretary, Amy Hayes is our CFO. We also have on our board Eileen Casanetto, Monica DeVincenzi, Mark Johnson, Teresa Proaño, Jose Villalobos, and Sarah Watson. So let's give them a big, big, big round of applause. Thank you so much to all these poets. You're all so wonderful. I mean, we wish we could just give all of you the title. You really are all deserving and all wonderful. And most of you are young enough to try again next year. So come back, keep trying, you're gonna get in there. Oh, sorry, no, I'm having another brain fart. I'm not good at public speaking, forgive me. Cheryl Young from Philanthropic Ventures, is she here? I was expecting her. Oh, she is there. Hi. I've mostly just talked to you on the phone. So I want to acknowledge Philanthropic Ventures. They are the ones that sponsored the $5,000 award that we just That is really huge. We couldn't give such a big award without you. And so thank you so much to Cheryl and everyone at Philanthropic Ventures for that. So thank you all for coming. We have cake and coffee in the back. If I can get my board and the poets to please stay here, we'd like to take some photos. But the rest of you go and enjoy some coffee and some socialization. Thank you so much.